Hello, everybody. I wanted to hop on really quickly today to talk to you about something that was a massive part of my spiritual evolution that I see a lot of people, my clients, my friends, people on Instagram struggling with and quite frankly getting wrong. And that really got highlighted to me in the last 24 hours as something that was really important for me to share with you. And this is the concept of intuition versus ego. So the reason this came up for me is because 2 days ago was the anniversary, my 1-year anniversary of my spiritual awakening. And I had already been doing about 18 months to 2 years worth of work to get to that point, but I just had the perfect cocktail of, meditation retreat, specific container, plant ceremony, that all kind of led together to me having this rocket ship of an awakening experience that started on November 23rd, 2019. And I've kept pretty quiet about it. A lot of people have witnessed this external journey of me leaving corporate and moving cities and launching retreats and launching my own sexuality brand. A lot of people have seen that external, but I was pretty quiet about the internal stuff. And we can go into that on another time. If that's of interest to you and you want to know more about that, let me know. But suffice to say that this was the first time that on my 1-year anniversary that I had really talked about the whole story, about what it was like for me, about the reality of what landed in my body and how kind of scary that was. And it was really freeing to share that on my 1-year anniversary. And I got so much amazing feedback from you guys about how helpful that was and how important it was for you to hear that from me. So thank you for those of you that shared that. That meant the world to me. And it really reminded me that it's important to share more of this and to share more of my spiritual journey. So thank you for telling me that, for sharing that with me. Super important, super valuable. Thank you. And that brings us to today. One of the things that I have been seeing happening a lot, that I have been coaching my current clients through, that I had to journey, that I coach my friends through, and that then started to come up in the comments around my spiritual evolution quite a bit, is this idea of intuition versus ego, and how do you know the difference? And this is a really important topic because it can make your journey way longer, way more painful, way harder than it needs to be. So I'm really excited to take some time to share my thoughts, feelings with you, and what my experience has been and what my clients' experience has been on this topic. And hopefully it is helpful to you. So to start off, the first thing we have to do before we start talking about what is intuition and what is ego and how do we tell the difference, we really have to let go of the current day, present day spiritual community notion that is supposed to be effing easy. It's not. Sorry to tell you, it is not meant to be super easy. It's just the way it is. And hi, Chelsea, thanks for hopping on. And if you really think about it, this makes a lot of sense. Now, let's say that you're only thinking about the 3D present reality, right? We're in a state where we only believe in the one lifetime from birth, childbirth, until we die. And in that, we as children, we grow. We learn new skills. As adults, we grow. We learn new skills. Maybe we had children of our own. We learn how to relate to others. We go through different job experiences. And in this 3D reality, our goal is not to have the biggest house or the fanciest car. Our goal on this experience is to grow, to continually evolve. Look at nature all around you. We're just part of nature. Nature's always growing. Nature's always evolving. That is what our physical being is here to do in this realm, is to grow and to evolve. We can then, if you are someone that believes and that follows, 3D, 4D, 5D reality, or believes in reincarnation in any of the various religions and traditions that believe in reincarnation, you will also know that the soul reincarnates on this earth to evolve. So we are here for a purpose, and the purpose is not accumulation of wealth. The purpose is not to have it easy. The purpose is to grow, to evolve physically and spiritually. That is literally why we're here. And when we take that into consideration, the next thing we want to consider is how do spirits grow? And we do this through challenges. We grow through adversity. We grow through moving through the hard stuff. Kids learn to walk by risking falling and face planting. We all learn to ride a bike by risking falling over, right? And that's not to say that we stop riding the bike because we might fall over or we fell over once and that sucked. No, we all persevere. We all get our butts back on the bike, take the training wheels off, and we keep going. This is how humans grow. So when we can consider that the purpose of us being here and this emanation and this planet is to grow and to evolve, both spiritually and in the 3D world, okay? And the way that we grow is through trial and error, and sometimes, through obstacles. Sometimes, through challenges. Sometimes we've got to fall off the bike 15 times before we learn how to ride it. We've got to be willing to make mistakes. And this is one of the biggest things I see in the spiritual community that drives me bananas, is this idea that if it's hard or that I have resistance, I shouldn't be doing it. And guys, you are literally kneecapping your own spiritual and physical evolution when you do that. You are getting in your own way. Things are meant to be hard so that you can grow past them, so you can grow through them. It's why we're here. And if you're a spiritual entrepreneur, somebody that is holding this vision of a business or a community or something on those lines up here, and you really want to achieve it, then your spirit is actually going to intentionally give you the obstacles that you need to overcome to be able to hold that reality. You must transcend the things that mean the reasons you don't have it right now. Right? There's a reason you're not a millionaire right now. There's a reason you don't have the community you want right now, right? There's a reason you don't know how to ride the bike. And what is happening is you are being given opportunities to transcend the beliefs, the stories, the patterns that are blocking you from being able to achieve that next level of reality, that next thing that you want. You must be willing to go through the fire. You must be willing to go through the pain in order to evolve. Okay? So this is super, super important. When we talk about ego versus intuition, we must first understand that it is absolutely imperative that we are willing to go through the hard stuff. The spiritual journey is not a journey where you get to slide in and you get your cake and you get your icing and you get your fruit and you get your chocolate swirled on top and it just gets handed to you on a silver platter. Nobody wants that. Your soul is not here for that. It's flipping boring. That's not why you're here. You don't evolve that way. You're here to go through challenges, lessons, and learnings so that you can evolve, and then depending on your purpose for being here, so you can help others evolve too. That's literally why you're here. That means that we have to accept that pain is a good thing. We are willing to experience pain. And I can, in another talk about the difference between pain and suffering, which is a really important distinction, but we're not going to go down that rabbit hole here today. If you're curious about that, let me know. We'll do another talk on it some other time. Okay? So suffice to say, we've landed it in our body. We're here to grow. That's our purpose. And in order to grow and achieve the things we want, we have to be willing to experience a little bit of pain. Cool. Let's talk about intuition and ego now, because that's really what got us here, but we needed to really land that core understanding first. What is ego? There's a lot of misconceptions here about people wanting to kill their ego. Like, oh, I went through an ego death and now I'm so beautifully enlightened. No, you need an ego. You live in the 3D reality. Your ego keeps you alive. Please don't kill it. You will not be able to function. And there are examples of some very spiritual people that through a combination of LSD or like a whole variety of, meditation, whatever it was that, near-death experience, whatever it was that got them there, actually did lose their ego. And all of them tell you that they basically couldn't function in real life. That's what happens. So there's this tendency, again, in the spiritual community to demonize actually having to do any work or go through any pain, which is wrong. And then there's a tendency in the spiritual community to demonize the ego. And the ego is necessary. The ego keeps you alive. So let's all just agree that in this space, we're not going to demonize the ego, and we're actually going to be very welcoming to the ego, and we're going to thank it for keeping us alive for however many years you've been on this planet. Amazing. So what actually now is the ego? Ego is in your physical brain and is a collection of basically memories, a storage file of memories of how to keep you alive on this planet right now. So basically what's happening is when you're in a room or when you're out to lunch or whatever you're doing, your senses are constantly scanning the environment that you're in, constantly scanning what's going on around you. And in that scanning, in that awareness, what is happening is it's filtering all of that through, okay, let's take a look at the file of all of my personal lived experiences of things that have sucked, things that have been painful, things that have hurt. And let's take a look at all of those and see if this situation is like any of those things. No? Okay, cool. Now we're going to go through our ancestors because we have epigenetics, right? We're genetically similar. We carry trauma from our ancestors. So now we're going to go through all of the history of our ancestors. We're going to go through that file. Is the present situation that we're in a situation where any of our ancestors were scared, unhappy, eaten alive, anything like that? Yes or no? No? Okay, cool. We're safe. Now we're going to go through the evolutionary file of all of the things that our tribal, animalistic, like evolutionary roots say is unsafe. And at any given moment, your ego is evaluating the present state reality and checking to see if it matches any of the things that could get you eaten by a bear or thrown out of your tribe, which would mean that you died because tribe was how you lived, or get you too close to a fire and you might get burned, right? So it's got this awareness of all of these things from your ancestors, from your evolutionary data, and then from your personal lived experience that are things that it doesn't want you to have to experience, and it's trying to keep you alive. And it's literally just checking in with your present reality, what's going on right now around you, and does it line up with any of those experiences? And if yes, it's going to alert you by a bad feeling in the body. And that's going to be different for everybody. It might be for some people, it's like, a closing of the shoulders, a rounding, a tightness in the chest, an upset stomach, right? Headache. It can be lots of different things. You really need to kind of test it out and learn what your body's language is. But suffice to say that it's going to notify you. And here's where the mistake happens, is that people feel that notification of something feeling uncomfortable. And because in the spiritual community, we have a story that everything should be comfortable and easy if we're manifesting it or if we're in alignment with our path, and that our ego is bad, we turn that uncomfortable feeling, because I must not be feeling ego if I'm a spiritual person, we turn that feeling into intuition telling me I must leave. I must remove myself from this situation because my belief system says that anything that is hard is not spiritual. It's universal resistance. I shouldn't have to have resistance if I'm in alignment. Therefore, if this is resistance, I'm out because it's not in alignment. And there's no way I'm taking cues from my ego because I killed that thing. I had an ego death. I got no ego. So it must be intuition. And this is where we get into people spiritually bypassing by saying their intuition is stopping them from doing something. And it's not healthy, and it's really slowing down your progress. It's causing you to get in your own way because you are being given this opportunity to learn, to grow, evolve, and because it doesn't feel good, you're opting out. We're doing the cancel culture thing that we like to do these days. We're stepping back from it, and we're not allowing ourselves to experience the very thing that our intuition and our higher self has given us to allow us to grow. So hopefully we can kind of see here what ego is. It's a present day reality. So if you're trying to discern, is this ego or is this intuition, note that if it's a present day reality, like it's a reaction to something that is either happening right now to me or something that just happened, right? So something that happened in the last 10 minutes or something that's happening in my reality right now. It's actually happening and my body is reacting to that. That is an ego reaction. That is like a, hey, this feels unsafe. You could get eaten by a bear style reaction. That is data. We like that. We want that to be your co-pilot. If you consider that your life is driving a bus or a train or a Ferrari or a yacht or a plane or whatever you want it to be, you are the driver. Your consciousness is the driver. You want your ego to be the co-pilot. Your ego is a good person to have. You want to be notified when things feel uncomfortable. You want to know that. You want to feel that. It could be that there's a safety concern. It could be that this is highlighting a potential growth opportunity. It could be that boundaries need to be reasserted, right? Like these are important things to know. So I'm not saying to ignore it. Please don't do that. Please listen, land it in your body, be willing to sit with the uncomfortable feeling, and you get to be curious. You get to get curious at this stage. And what do I mean by that? when we're willing to sit in the uncomfortable feeling, we get to ask it questions. What stories are coming up? What in my present awareness is maybe causing this? What stories are coming up? What feelings is this generating in the body? What's underneath all that? If there's a story coming up, what's underneath the story? Where could that story be coming from? What evidence do I have to validate this story? What evidence do I have to invalidate the story? So when the ego is coming up and it's alerting you to something in your present reality, it is super important to allow that in and to listen to what the alert is. Not because this is a cancel culture opportunity and, oh, it feels bad, therefore I must not be doing it because resistance is universal and that means I'm out of alignment and yada, 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 that comes up, but because it is still a hint for you to grow through. So again, it could be that there's a rebalancing of priorities or boundaries depending on the situation. It could be that you do actually need to leave, right? Like maybe you feel unsafe or maybe you're really unheard or maybe it's toxic. Like it is possible that you actually need to leave. But what I'm seeing as a challenge with my clients and in the spiritual community is this instant reaction of, oh, I feel resistance. That means this is bad, so I'm not going to do it. And that is getting in your own way. So I hope we can kind of see what ego is now. If any part of that is a little bit unclear, let me know. And I'm happy to write you back and clarify. So let's move on to intuition. If we understand that ego is this like present reality, a reaction to my present state and it being safe or unsafe based on evolutionary, ancient, ancestor, and present experience, then intuition is something completely different. And yet they can feel the same in the body. And this is what caught me up for my spiritual evolution as well. So I get it. I get that it's hard. So let's take a look, and we're not going to go into the full conversation of 3D, 4D, 5D reality. That's a whole other topic. If you're curious, let me know. We can have a separate live chat about that. But suffice to say that your intuition is coming from whatever you believe is directly above you, right? Your physical body. So if you want to call that source, if you want to call that God, goddess, if you want to call that 4D reality, whatever, you can pick ancestors, spirit guides, whatever resonates for you. That's one level above you. This entity basically has a blueprint or a map of where it's trying to get you in life. It knows that you are on A and you desire to have B, or it has guided you to B. It knows that there's probably 15,000 different ways you can get from A to B. It's going to try and take you along the right path based on all of the other universal elements that are happening, and that's why we talk about divine timing. So it's going to try and bring you through that path that is both going to be efficient and pleasurable, because we live in a world of duality, and if we accept that there must be pain, then also we get to have pleasure, right? So it's going to take you through a pleasurable path that is also going to prepare you so that when you get to B, you are actually able to receive it. And this may require spiritual growth, this may require physical growth, it may require releasing of limiting beliefs. And this is whether you're manifesting like $1 million or your soulmate or a business or a child or like anything. It doesn't matter what you're trying to get here. The process is the same. You don't have it yet, there's a path to getting it, and there's certain things that are going to have to align in the universe and a certain experience that you are going to have for you to be able to land that thing. Okay? It can see above us. It's like if you're looking down at a board game. So it knows, it has this infinite intelligence, and it can see multiple steps ahead of where you are right now. So what it is going to do is try to take you on the path that like makes the most sense, that is going to prepare you to receive what you want through challenges, through trial and tribulation sometimes, not always, but sometimes, and through a little bit of fun along the way, and that aligns with all of the other moving pieces in the universe that need to line up, okay? When you're getting an intuitive hit, this means it is not based on what is currently happening, it is based on 3 steps ahead. A true intuitive hit is going to feel like, oh, I should call that person, or I should take a different way to work today, and then maybe you see a sign for something you were looking for, which is You know, Cian and I have so many examples of this where when he was moving and leaving his house, we like walked a different way than we normally walked. Like we took a different route, and there was a bin service there that we had never heard of before that made him leaving his house infinitely easier, because we had a big bin and we could just throw all the stuff he didn't want in there and they were able to take it away, auction it, dump it, whatever they needed to do, as opposed to us having to do it individually. That is an example of an intuitive hit where we were just like, I don't know why, but we're just going to like walk a different path today. And boom, there was the reason. Or today earlier, I was like, I feel like I should check the mail today. And my license was in there, right? So it's this like, you should do this future action as the way that intuition will land in the body, because the universe is trying to align you, higher self, spirit, whatever you want to call it, is trying to align you with the thing that you desire. It's trying to give you little clues. It's like leaving you little breadcrumbs. So the breadcrumbs don't show up in a, hey, this present reality feels uncomfortable. That's not intuition, that's ego. It's still valid, it's just not intuition. Intuition is going to show up in like, here's the little breadcrumbs for you to follow to get to the thing that you want. I hope that kind of makes sense. Another really good lived example that I had when I was going on my spiritual journey, just to give you an idea of the difference here, is for me, the decision to go to the event that ended up really like blasting me into the stratosphere as far as spiritual awakening was concerned. Because I had done about 18 months to 2 years of pre-work, and I was doing really well, and my mindset was changing, and I was working really well with manifestation, but I wasn't at the level I'm at right now. I didn't have this awareness of 3D, 4D, 5D. I didn't have everything that I have now. The decision to go to that event was a hard one for me, because it was on the same day that Winnipeg, which is the city I'm from, was in the Grey Cup, which is a big football game. Like I'm not a football fan, clearly, but I never have been, but like it's the most important football game ever, and Winnipeg was playing in it against Calgary. It was in Calgary on the same day, and all of my friends were really, really, really into football. And this was a big deal for them. And so some of them even drove to Calgary, and I had the invite to drive with them to Calgary. Some of them stayed in the city. There was like lots of parties going on, and me being the social butterfly that I am, had all these things that I wanted to do. And even though I don't like football, I love being in the energy of other people being excited about something and like the community that it creates. So I really wanted to do that thing. And yet I kept getting this, when I got the invitation, I kept getting this like, you should go to this. You should go to this other event, which, by the way, was a 5-hour meditation retreat when I didn't really meditate at the time, with a room full of strangers, and then a plant ceremony, pitch black, that I was terrified of doing in a room full of strangers. So you can see how it felt a little weird. It was a decision that didn't make sense. And when I really checked in, I knew that going to the ceremony and doing the meditation retreat, even though it made no sense, was what I was being intuitively guided to do. Now, I know that this was intuition because it was future-based. It wasn't telling me, hey, you need to get out of this current reality because this current reality doesn't feel good. I wasn't trying to avoid anything. In fact, making the intuitive decision was the one that was like less exciting to me at the time. I really wanted to go like hang out with my friends that were going to go check out the football game. So again, this is the difference, is that event changed my life, and I'm so grateful that I listened, even when it didn't make sense. And this is what I mean when I say listening when it doesn't make sense. It doesn't mean trying to escape a growth opportunity, which is the confusion that I see for a lot of people in the spiritual community, where they're experiencing something that will make them grow, but because it's uncomfortable, and they have the story that alignment is never uncomfortable and that ego is dead or gone or doesn't talk to me, they say, okay, this is obviously intuition telling me that I'm not meant to be here, so I'm going to peace out. And you lose the chance to grow. This was not that. There was no discomfort in my body. There was no like, you need to get out of this situation. It was just like, here's 2 options. Which one are you intuitively pulled to? And it was the one that I needed to go to, which was the meditation container. So I hope you're starting to kind of see the difference here between an ego response to the present current reality. That's usually a like negative contractual reaction, and an intuitive piece of guidance, which is, instead of being like, hey, this thing sucks, it's more like, why don't you just like flow this way for a little while? And it kind of it's more like a redirect, right? It's more like a redirect than a, hey, this thing sucks, you should stop. Again, both are valid. I am not here to say that your ego sucks, and I'm not here to say that your intuition is superior. You have both because both are needed for you to be successful in this life. The ego keeps you alive. The ego's information is valid for that reason. The intuition is going to help you align with your mission, purpose, and path, and help you have the intentionally chosen obstacles for you to grow into it. So it doesn't mean it's always going to be easy. Okay? It will always be simple. It will not always be easy. You don't want it to be. If life is always easy, you're not growing. You're not in alignment. That's not actually alignment. Alignment should be constantly asking you to grow. Okay? Thank you for staying with me. If anything about this is unclear, oh, it's 444. How beautiful. Great timing to end. If any of this is unclear, please, this was a huge thing for me to learn, and I'm so happy and so open to share it with you, to give you more guidance, to tell you more about my journey, and to just expand on it. So please feel free to ask questions if this is unclear or you're just curious. I'm super available for that. At the end of the day, what I want to leave you with is that your spiritual journey, your spiritual evolution, and even just your personal, if you're not a spiritual person, even just your personal evolution, it's okay that it's hard sometimes. It is meant to be hard sometimes. Allow that, take it as a sign that you're actually on the right path, and remember that we're in a dualistic world, which means we get pain and pleasure. Allow yourself to receive both, and you're gonna be golden. Okay, thank you guys so much for being here with me. I hope you have an amazing evening, and I will talk to you all soon.